MJ Garcia Dia, President-elect of Philippine Nurses Association of America. Hello and welcome to Sojanel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For some of us who are hearing about PNAA for the first time, can you tell us about your organization?
So PNAA was actually formed by 5 chapters, which are New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan, and Central California in 1979. It was really a response to the growing need of issues and concerns of Filipino nurses here in the United States. The mission is really to uphold and foster a positive image and welfare of our members and promote professional excellence. So this way we could contribute to healthcare and society. So we do have a lot of programs for our members, from professional, educational, and training development programs, as well as trying to mentor our young nurses so they could be future leaders of our organization. So we have actually existed for over 40 years, and we celebrated this last year in Atlanta, Georgia. So it was really a great celebration, and we were so looking forward for this year, 2020, which was designated by the World Health Organization as the Year of the Nurse.
And this is important, what you're doing, because now we're realizing how much you nurses are really sacrificing, not just on the front lines. We have people like you in the administrative side of things, and you're able to really manage this pandemic. Can you talk to us about someone from the front lines, administrative side of things? How is it now in terms of numbers of COVID? Because parang napunta sa background yung conversation about COVID because of the protests. But let us not forget, we're opening for the economy, but not because it's safe. It's still unsafe.
Even though that we have seen the numbers come down dramatically, so since April, there were probably around 2,000 plus hospitalizations with over 700 patients on ventilators. Now we have seen the numbers going down to like around 100, around 50 in some healthcare organizations. This should not really stop us from being vigilant and continue to really observe the CDC guidelines on strict hand washing, and of course social distancing, and really wearing our masks properly in the public. That's really key when we try to stop the curve of the virus, and it's important for us to continue the same practices that we did before.
And so that's why we're seeing on the streets, the protesters are wearing their mask. But how do you think these actions on the streets, people coming together to protest, to march, going to affect the COVID curve, and what are the chances of a spike?
So the close proximity of people with each other, that's really a high-risk situation, and people really need to recognize that.
How are you preparing for this? How is the hospitals preparing for this? How are the nurses preparing for this?
It's so sad that we were so unprepared, because obviously it was something that we have not experienced, even for myself, who have been a nurse for over 35 years. But I think we learned so much from what happened. We know for sure that we need to equip ourselves structural-wise in preparing for PPEs for our nurses, and also educating the public on what COVID-19 is. We also need to start, so to speak, of reintegrating the new normal, trying to rethink how we should be keeping our staff and our patients safe. A lot of surgeries were put on hold, so we need to rethink how do we make them feel that it's okay for them to come back to the hospital. And from an administration perspective, how do we repurpose our spaces now moving forward, and really to anticipate all the events that had happened and make that as a lessons learned. So this way we could be flexible on how we try to convert spaces, especially for isolation spaces that we need, and also to cross-train our nurses so they're always prepared and they're ready to be on the front line. Because majority of us, when it came to the point where we need to volunteer, some of our nurses who work in administration went to the front line and did that. And that was really being appreciated by front nurses who felt that they are also being supported by their peers.
And that's why segments like this are very important, because we let the public know how much you guys as nurses sacrifice. And what a fortuitous time, because I didn't even realize that this year was designated as the nurses year. So thank you for your dedication and for your service. As a parting shot, do you have any more reminders for us to think about, especially with what's going on? Some people may have forgotten that there's a pandemic, that it's still very contagious and it's very deadly, but some people are aware, but they feel maybe this is a more important cause for them. So how do we balance that? What can we do, and what reminders can you give us?
Keep ourselves mentally healthy. A lot of us have forgotten to really reflect on what our priorities. A lot of us have taken things for granted. Obviously, a lot of FaceTime has been happening. Even I myself have been calling my parents back home in the Philippines, just checking on them and making sure that they're healthy. So a lot of self-reflection. We need to recharge ourselves. We need to take care of ourselves, especially our nurses, because they have went through a tremendous amount of stress and burnout, and at the same time feeling guilty that they made it through while their colleagues passed away. And there are multiple losses, especially for our nurses. So they need to really take care of themselves as well, recharge. And then we need to make sure from a leadership perspective that we don't really burn out, because we are needed for the long haul. This is the year of the nurse, of course. People consider us as heroes, but people also need to remember that it's not us who are heroes. It's everyone who contributed to make sure that we feel safe, and particularly our patients. So we look forward that we will remember this as something that kept our community together and kept all of us resilient.
Thank you so much for ending on that positive note. Let me just mention in the notes that you sent me before this that nursing has been a respected and trusted profession for the 18th year in a row, according to the Gallup survey. That must make you feel very fulfilled.
Absolutely. We have earned the trust of the public, and we have proven that the trust is really around the world and globally. So we hope that through our campaign, Heal Our Nurses campaign, that our nurses really feel appreciated and that they will be there. PNAA will be there for them for the long haul.
And of course, you're very much appreciated. Thank you for your service and dedication. And please tell your colleagues as well, thank you for all of us. Mabuhay kayo. We're very proud that a lot of our Filipino Americans are working as nurses, and that is why we have this segment on the show to honor you guys, your sacrifices, and your service to the communities.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. We appreciate the media, and we hope that you stay safe too. Thank you.